But first, I am so very honored to turn things over to our keynote speaker, who will get our Penn session started off with a bang. In order to finance and complete complicated projects like a new Penn Station and revitalized Midtown West, cities need support at the state and federal levels. Rosabeth Moss Kanter's 2015 book, Move, Putting America's Infrastructure Back in the Lead, has emerged as a new Bible for shoring up America's global competitiveness after decades of infrastructure divestment. Please welcome Rosabeth Moss Kanter, Chair and Director of the Harvard University Advanced Leadership Initiative, who will explore why these projects are so critical to the future success of our Northeast economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I love the pictures of New York and the theme. I'm from Boston, and I know some of you have heard of it. You think it's a suburb, but we're actually a separate city. So I'm going to give you a national perspective with a little global comparisons in this very short amount of time. I mean, why? What is the case for these investments? Well, we're seeing the possibilities and the beautiful city, but we're in pain in America. We're suffering every day. We're suffering from all the things that are not fixed, and we're a little bit stuck in the past. We're stuck in policies from the 1950s and 1960s, all under the defense umbrella. That's when we built the interstate highways. That's when we invested in science and technology, all in the name of defense. And at that time, the word urban was often followed by the word renewal, which meant that it was in trouble and it needed to be fixed. Well, I like to think of the opportunities for action as 3 R's: repair, renew, and reinvent. So there are clearly a lot of things that need to be repaired in America, from the potholes to the state of the rails. We live with it, we suffer with it every day. But the problem with repair is that maintenance is not a vision. Maintenance doesn't motivate action. I had friends who lived in Washington, D.C., maybe this is a symptom, who, when a house needed to be repaired, needed maintenance, they would sell it and buy another one. And that's often what we've done with parts of cities. So repair doesn't rally people. We don't get really excited to spend a lot of money so that then it can look exactly like it did before, but just in a little better shape. Renewal, the second R. Well, renewal gets us a little bit more toward change, and there are a lot of things that need to be renewed in America. The state of our rails, I mentioned that. So the Amtrak Acela, which I did not take to New York today, I flew. Americans like to fly. Europeans will take trains. That's because they've got really good trains. The Acela is our high-speed rail in America. Its highest speed is 150 miles per hour, and it can only go that fast on a short stretch of track between Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Japan just celebrated the 50th anniversary of the bullet train, which goes 200 miles an hour, and in a recent year deviated from schedule an average of 36 seconds. I'll take it. So we need to renew very aging infrastructure. Some of our infrastructure is from the 19th century, not even the 20th century, and here we are in the 21st. And I wish I had more than 10 minutes to tell you what all of it is. So the opportunity, I mean, why are we doing this? Why should we invest? It isn't so much because we want to beat other countries, although patriotic pride can be a motivator, but there's no substitution here. If I want to get from Boston to New York, I'm not going to go to Japan and take their bullet train to do that. We need our own. But there are several reasons that we need to be investing right now. I mean, some big opportunities. The first clearly is traffic congestion. Traffic congestion is a huge cost in America. The cost of lost time and wasted fuel from congestion, which means unnecessary delays, is about $120 billion a year. That's real money. That's lost productivity. That's also extra fuel. So the average American, and this would include Montana, wastes 38 hours a year stuck unnecessarily in traffic. That's a lot of lost productivity. You could be doing something else, although you shouldn't be doing it texting while you're sitting in traffic. So traffic congestion is a huge issue, but it's not only the productivity, it's also health. We spend about $15 billion a year, according to my colleagues at the Harvard School of Public Health, on health-related issues from traffic congestion, just traffic congestion alone. And a great deal of congestion, aside from getting into a city and out of a city at rush hour, a great deal of congestion is driving around looking for parking. There was one study in Brooklyn that said at least 40% of the extra congestion comes from looking for parking spaces. So clearly, here's an opportunity for change. Here's a case for investment in something beyond the 19th or the 20th century way to do it. We need 21st century reinvention. Getting trucks off the roads is another issue that will help reduce congestion. There was a stretch of interstate in the South that ministers used to pray over because there were so many fatalities, and many of them were truck-related. And when trucks started playing with better freight rail got trucks off the roads. And a lot of things we think are coming to us by truck are actually coming by rail, and trucks are just picking them up to take them the last little distance. Miami, the city of Miami is going to be transformed because of my favorite, I made this infrastructure project really sexy and human. It's a port tunnel, a tunnel under the port of Miami, which is on an island, and it used to be that the trucks would have to go across a rickety bridge into the center of the city before they could get out of the city and go where they needed to go with all of their freight. Well, because of the tunnel, long story, but you can read it here, because of the tunnel, 80%, which has been open a little over a year, 80% of the truck traffic is now out of downtown Miami. They go under the tunnel, they go in the tunnel, and they're diverted directly onto the interstate. They can go to the rail terminal, they're gone. Downtown Miami is now open for development for pedestrians, for bicycles, for residential use. And because of huge traffic coming into downtown Miami, if people can be on foot and on bicycles, that's much better. Bicycles are really important. We don't have a bike culture in America yet, so therefore we don't yet know how to coexist with bicycles on our streets, but another opportunity. A second big opportunity involves public transit. Public transportation is so important, but it's not just public transit per se, it's also the connections. I guess that's why I'm on a Penn Station focused morning program. Public transit is a ticket out of poverty. The cities with the best public transportation in America also are heavily those cities that rank highest in the chances of moving from the bottom fifth of income distribution to the top fifth between the ages of 16 and 30. New York is on that list, along with Boston, San Francisco, Washington, D.C. It doesn't mean that our best public transportation are perfect. Nothing still gets from the rating groups higher than an 80%, but those cities with good public transportation are giving people a chance to get access to jobs. Chicago, which gets high marks for its public transit system, however, ranks in the 50s out of the 100 largest metropolitan areas in the ability to get access to a job on average within 45 minutes. So that means there may be good public transportation, it just doesn't happen to be where people need it. And if people can't connect with it, which is why we do need, and we see cities now building multimodal terminals where people on bicycles can leave their bike, hop a train, get on the subway, get on a bus. where there are dedicated lanes for cars doing drop-off. That's what the vision is for Union Station in Chicago. It's the vision in Denver, which is opening a whole section of the city to retail and entertainment and quality of life because of Union Station. Even though Denver is a car culture, they're converting people to rail because the rail not only takes them somewhere, but there are these connection points. So we now have, with congestion, we have impact not only on productivity and cost, we have impact on health. With public transit, we have impact on economic opportunity as well as quality of life. And then we have to use technology. Technology is our ticket into the 21st century. We already see it all around us. Technology is incredibly important. Our smartphones are controlling everything. I mean, imagine, besides on-demand transportation, Uber, I'm very sympathetic to people whose jobs are displaced, who spend a lot of money to have a taxi medallion, but this investment could have been made. It's just simple technology, fairly simple, through the smartphone, on demand, and pay for it at the same time. There are new technologies out there that help you connect, that help you get from place to place, that will map the route and show you across all modes of transportation how to get there, and will signal if you need to make a change, and will eventually allow you through the booking or the barcode on your smartphone to be able to connect seamlessly, so you don't need 15 tickets and nobody knows you're coming. We're going to be able to do miraculous things to help people move. And when we move, we tackle opportunity. When we move, we have not only win-win situations, we have what I call the quintuple wins. Win, 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 win. It's healthier and safer. It's faster, more efficient, more convenient. It is more accessible to more people. So there's a social justice virtue in reducing inequality if we help people move around cities. And fourth, environmental sustainability. It's greener. Burn less fuel. Use fewer of those fossil fuels to begin with, aside from whether we're going to replace them with electric cars. And it not only is today's jobs, that's not the rationale for investing. It's tomorrow's jobs. It's opening up the city and parts of the city to uses they didn't even know were possible. And so it's the future, not just the present. What do we need to get there? Well, we need a couple of things. You're here in one of those things. We certainly need leadership courage. We need leaders willing to stand up and advocate for it. That's how we've gotten those investments in the past. Secondly, we need, well, more than a village. You know that African proverb, it takes a village? I say a village isn't big enough. It takes a cross-sector, multi-stakeholder coalition. Now, I realize that doesn't trip off the tongue, but that's what you are. It takes every sector of society, public sector, private sector. These systems that we're talking about are all seamless connections between public and private sector with the voice of the people helping determine what we do. And finally, what leaders also have to do, and what we have to do ourselves, is tell a new story. A new narrative. If the story about how we have these systems in America today, the interstate highways, science and tech education, was because of national defense, the defense rationale, we can't do that anymore. The rationale now is opportunity in an inclusive society in which everyone can move. Mobility is opportunity. Thank you.